Sorry, I just got so into this bubble glazing. Well, advanced pottery, welcome. I'm pretty sure this isn't the ideal way to spend however much of this semester together, but electronically we'll have to do. Now, while I've got your attention, why don't I show you in the typical semester of advanced pottery some of what we would do and kind of where I am planning on going throughout all of this craziness. So the first unit project is actually two projects in one. We start with a decorative tile. Some students will do it as just a decorative tile. Some will treat it as kind of a picture frame, especially some of the seniors. They'll do picture frames. That way they can put it up at their graduation party and they can put one of their grad photos or multiple photos in it. But thematically, for this first project, this tile, you could do just about anything. This is an example of one from last semester. This was done by Brooke Hennessy. Beautiful, beautiful example. The textures, the coloring, the layering of objects, everything on this really hit the mark with what I kind of expect out of a project like this. So, along with that tile, you create a lantern next, but you have to find some way to kind of connect the theme of your tile with the theme of your lantern. Now, I don't have Brooke's tile, or I don't have her lantern with me, but I do have Sarah Fuker's lantern from just this past semester. Beautifully done. I love the kind of jug ball handle that's at the top. She's got the F cut out for her name. A lot of good windows to let light through because it would be a functional lantern. After that unit, then we get into the one that is the most time consuming, and that is our realistic food unit. Here is very, very well done example. The chips are just incredible. See if you can catch the texture in those. The bowl with little bits of salsa in it. I love the way that the burrito turned out. This whole thing is hollow. Beautifully, beautifully done. So that here is an individual piece of food from a meal from also last semester. The burger, incredibly done. When it's sitting out in the gallery like it has been, it really does fool the eye. I mean, you take a look at it and you think it's potentially realistic enough to eat. Now, after those first three units, so the tile, the lantern, and then the food, then we start the glaze portion of the semester. So I take and split the class in half. Half of the students end up glazing the tile and the lantern if it's been disc fired, and the other half starts throwing on the wheel. When we throw on the wheel, typically I like to build on what it was you did in your first pottery class. So you worked on throwing cylinders. Depending on the semester that you had it or the teacher that you had, you know, if you got the cylinders done, you may have learned how to throw a bowl. But a bowl, that is where we start with advanced pottery. This is a beautifully bubbled bowl by, I wonder if you can see the name on the bottom, Hope Ashley, last semester. Incredibly well done. The walls super, super thin, nice and lightweight. I'm sure she'll love this once she has the opportunity to come back to school eventually. Look at doing altered cylinders. So here is, I can't remember who threw this one, but incredibly well done. I like the angles that are in the body of it overall. Same thing here. Just a fun and a more interesting way to depict the very first thing you learn to throw when you're throwing on the wheel. Now, all of that being said, this semester is a little different. So let me see if I can break down somewhat where we're going and what we might do in terms of projects based around what we typically do in this class. All right, so because you're gonna be working remotely from home and you're not gonna have the amount of clay that you would typically have if you were here in school, we are gonna start with a tile for the very first project, but I'm revamping it a little bit in terms of the design and the overall size. Now, size-wise, we're looking at maybe 7 inches wide, 5 to 6 inches tall, and it'll have sculptural relief, so it'll have aspects of it that stick up higher than others, portions of it that stick down lower. And when I get into the overall construction of the project, I'll walk everybody through all of those different steps. Now, thematically for this, what I thought might look kind of interesting, and it's really the only applicable kind of substitute for what we typically do. I want you to customize and design your own logo for a restaurant. Now, I'll explain a little bit more because I'm guessing you might think logo, oh my gosh, I got to create the whole new sign, the whole new all of that. You don't have to do any of that. What I mean by logo is the lettering and the font that are in the logo. So I've posted these on our Google Classroom. One sheet here, we got White Castle, Subway, Applebee's, Taco Bell, and then this one, Burger King, Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts, Chipotle. It doesn't have to be one of these. If you want to pick like a clothing brand that has an interesting logo, like Levi's, they've got that neat, not hexagon, but 1, 2, 3, 4, I don't know, trapezoidal shape that has Levi's written in there. Revamping that logo and using what it is you're going to use for it could look kind of interesting. So it doesn't have to be one of the food logos or one of the restaurant logos that I posted on the Google Classroom. Now, for mine, and I'll have to post my initial sketches. The only sketch that I have here with me today is my final idea sketch for this. But for mine, I ended up going with Red Lobster. Red Lobster because in place of the name of the restaurant, you're going to substitute that with your name. Now, you could do first name, middle name, last name. If it's a 2-name restaurant, you could use your first and your last, your middle and your last, your first and your middle, whatever organization you want to use for that. But we're replacing the title. So I picked Red Lobster because my name, Robinson, is a little bit longer, and the name for the restaurant, Red Lobster, was a little bit longer. Plus, since we're going to try to utilize and recreate the same font that they originally used when we do our letters, R I knew was going to be kind of a tough one, so it's nice that Red Lobster starts with the letter R, so I can kind of just steal exactly what they use for their lettering. But this is what I've come up with for mine. So, name in place of Red Lobster, but everything else is going to stay the same. You know, if we get a chance to actually add color to these, which I've got my fingers crossed, I hope that we can, but in the chance that we can, we're going to continue with similarities from the original. So, I would use the same bordering color, I would use the same background color, the same lettering color. And I also picked Red Lobster because I thought it would be fun to hand sculpt this lobster and have it actually sit on top. Now, I haven't made any of it yet, but I have done a few small tile samples in the past, and this is kind of what I'm basing this off of. So I did this one last year. This is roughly the size that we'll go with. This is actually only about 6.5 wide. And 5.5 to 6 tall, but it's got all of the elements of sculptural relief. I've got thinly rolled out stacked slabs. I've got negative space cutouts where you can see through portions of it. And you know, if you want to use the Harley-Davidson motorcycle emblem for yours to add your name to it, you could easily put first and last name in. Just saying, from a Harley fan standpoint, if that's you, you just made my list of good ones, so stay on it. For now, that's all I've got. Hopefully when you're able to come up, and I don't know what day in particular you are assigned to come pick your supplies up, but after you come pick them up, leave the stuff in the box for now. There should be a folder in the box. It's got some tracing paper and the ink transfer pens because we're going to utilize the same kind of image transfer method that we did on the Spirit Rattle in regular pottery. But be patient. We're not going to start anything until next Monday. I don't know if I'm going to begin the block with a Zoom meeting for all of us. The technology side of this is something that's really, really new to me, so it's gonna take quite a while for me to get up to speed with kind of where a lot of the other teachers that use this regularly are. So maybe we'll start with a Zoom meeting, maybe we won't, I'm not 100% sure, but for now, I don't want anybody to begin anything. Just grab your box of supplies. If you want to open it and look through it, that's fine. Just don't lose anything that's in there. And I almost forgot. The sign out sheet, if you grabbed it or if they gave it to you when you came up to school to get your supplies, after you sign that sheet, I need you to take a photo of it on your phone and then email it to me. That way I have a document that you have actually signed, and it's all stuff that you're liable for if you don't return supplies or whatever it is. We'll cover that kind of stuff closer towards the end of this whole experience. So feel free to email anytime. Does not matter if you've got questions about this, that, the other, whatever it is. But like I said, patience, wait. We're going to begin this project officially on Monday of next week. So hope all is well. Again, shoot me an email if you got any questions.